Okay, so this is my first time on. So I go to screen share, and then I can share on Lightroom. Great.
Yeah, perfect. And then you'll
So
just pull up whichever one you want to start with.
yeah, yeah. So you can see it. I just want to.
All right, so this is your
Great.
first critique with me. Have you watched any of the others?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I have watched several of them. Uh,
Okay.
but mainly unwatched. I also did watch the level 4 critiques and every other critique you had. Depends on the level. So yeah,
Okay.
I did watch them.
So it works the same way. We're just going to go through and you're going to get scored 0 to 3. 0 being, why would you bring this to critique?
Yeah,
1 being that it showed promise, but you kind of missed the mark a little bit. 2 being a commendable photo, and 3 being exemplary, meaning that I can't find anything wrong with it.
sure.
Um, and you're only graded based off of your work and what I've seen you produce in the house. So,
hmm Okay,
um,
okay, great.
so we'll start with you, and you just tell me a little bit about the image and what you think of it and what went into creating it, and then I'll tell you what I'm going to score it.
Sure. So this image was done on a trip I took last year. It was at sometime a little before Christmas. I was on a trip to Poland, and I was staying in a hotel which was looking across at this square where one morning I looked outside and I saw two soldiers just passing by. I mean, every 1 hour. So I went down and asked them, what are the soldiers doing? They were guarding the. There is a tomb in front of me over there. They're guarding it 24/7. I was so amazed. So one night I went outside and I wanted to take a shot of, let's say, of releasing myself. I was on a business trip. It was not pleasure. So that was the idea behind the shot, to go anywhere I like.
So when you had this in your head and you were thinking of creating the shot, how close did it come out to what you were thinking it would be?
Well, it on a scale, on a percentage scale, I would say 90%. It was
Okay.
what I wanted to be. Yeah, yeah,
Um,
90%. Probably I wanted more for me to be in focus, but it was also raining and it was hard to do everything by myself because I was by myself. The camera was on a tripod and everything.
I love this shot. I'm pretty sure I asked you for this one, for the Creation Wars. If I didn't, I want it. Um,
Oh, you didn't. I know I posted it for the Creation Wars because I didn't know if the Creation Wars were done or not or anything,
nope.
but I did post it. Yeah.
Every week,
Okay.
and I would definitely be interested to take this one to competition because I think it would do really well. I love the concept
Great.
of it. It's not
Thank you.
something that I haven't seen done. I've seen other ones with
Yeah.
butterflies and birds and
Yeah.
things, so it's
Yeah.
not a completely original concept, but um, I was just having this conversation, and I think that it was presented in a very unique way. Um, that
Yeah. I also saw a lot of shots like this, a lot of editing done. Uh, that was basically, let's say, I wanted to try to do it, to recreate it, because mainly what I do in Photoshop in composites is you have all the images, you done all the images, but let's say the birds and everything, it was difficult because this was basically a brush. So I wanted to see if I can do it.
Yeah, and you did it really well. I love the moodiness of it. It definitely lends to the idea that it was raining, and I love the monument and the light leading you right up, to the silhouette of the guy. I think it's very strong. I'm not completely sold on the kind of matte finish that you have. I'd like to
Okay,
see some more true blacks in it, I think. It's a little bit too toned down in the contrast, and I think that it would be
okay,
stronger if there was just a little bit more punch. But that's really my only critique. A
hmm
little bit of the ghosting around the trees bothers me just a little bit, mostly because you have this very symmetrical kind of image, and it's off so slightly. Like it's a little
Yeah.
bit brighter along the halo of the trees, and there's more lights on the left than the right. So I'd be inclined to kind of even that out a little bit just to hold to the symmetry. But other than that, it's a really, really beautiful shot.
Well, I was thinking about the lights and about the halo behind, because the halo is done by the city lights, which
Hmm.
are behind the trees, because this is basically, let's say, one square in the middle of a big city. So all the lights were just floating behind the trees. And yeah, I wanted to do. Uh, I was thinking, I was trying and doing it a mirroring. So mirroring one image, one part of image on the other, it would basically make perfect symmetry. But I went with this. I didn't want it to be like perfect, perfect, because then it will be much more unrealistic, I think.
I completely agree. I think I would just go in and just dodge and burn a little bit along
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
tree line just to make it punch up as much as it is on his left hand side. Um,
Oh, okay.
and I might go in and just clone a couple of the lights on the left side and bring them over to the right just to even it out so that you still have the completed illusion of symmetry without it looking fake or looking like a mirrored image of itself. But overall, it's a
Hmm.
really good image, and for the work that I've seen from you, this would definitely get a 3, which is a great way to start off
Oh,
your
thank you.
first critique.
Yeah.
Okay, next
Okay,
one.
great. Okay, next. Uh, so this is another composite. I basically I like doing composites. I don't say I don't do other work, but this is mainly my interest. I want to do. So what's behind this image? Well, I I work in an office in a suit every day. So I wanted to represent, let's say, the environment in which I live, or let's say in which salesmen or IT managers or whatever live in. So basically, it's a skyscraper from metal, glass, concrete, and it's every day is a, let's say, a bit of a cloudy day. So this is my representation of going to work in the
Okay.
morning. Yeah.
I'm really digging on your composite style because there's definitely the element of symmetry, and you have these um, very clean, stark lines that create almost a commercial vibe to your work that I think is really strong. And a lot of composites are a little bit more softer and artsy. So I like that you're keeping them very crisp and clean.
Oh,
I
thank you.
love the blue colors with this. I love the vignetting around because it leads you dead center and helps you follow him.
Yeah.
Um, and I that's exactly what I get. It's a businessman going to work, but it's got a very futuristic kind of in the future feel to it that I really like.
Yeah,
Um,
well, I mean, when you look at all the new skyscrapers or the new business buildings, they are all the same. They all have like glass windows, and everything is in metal or in glass.
mhm.
Everything looks like a little bit of futuristic feel.
Now, it looks like you did mirror the sky, but you didn't mirror the building. Is that correct?
I did mirror also the building. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Why? So the only thing that's bothering me then,
Uh,
because I was trying to figure
okay.
that out, is that there's a shadow going up the center line only on the left side instead of on the left and the right. Do you see what I'm talking about?
Uh,
It's
no,
like just a
which shadow?
little bit, it's just a little bit of
You
right
mean
down
from
this,
the center?
yeah, right from the center line to the left of the center line, well, my left,
Yeah,
as the
I know.
viewer.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I see it. Yeah, I know. Because when I did mirror the other side, I mirrored it because on the right side was another building which was sticking out, so it didn't work for me. So I had to mirror the image.
Okay.
The business guy was composited after. He was not in the original image. So I did see that shadow, and I intentionally masked it out on the right side.
Okay.
Uh, why I did it in at that time, I don't know, at that time, my thought of the line was, okay, I'm mirroring this image. I do not want to, let's say, make it, how do you say it, surrealistic or really unrealistic. Eh, The whole image is unrealistic, obviously, but I wanted to keep one imperfection in the
Okay.
image.
I
So that
totally
was my
hear
train of
you,
thought.
but
Yep.
I think that it's distracting from this image because
Okay.
everything else is so clean and it's so symmetrical because it is literally taken and mirrored over that it's looking smudgy and off as a result of it. So I'd be inclined to
Okay.
tell you to edit that out. I'm not
Okay.
completely sold on the clouds. I actually think that it would
Hmm.
probably be a stronger image if they weren't stretched and mirrored. If you actually
Stretch
just
them.
had
Okay.
this like super saturated blue cloudy sky kind
Hmm.
of thing
Hmm.
where he was walking up. So I'm not 100% sold on that, but I do love this shot overall, and I think the
Thank you.
the reflection of him into the surface of the building is fantastic. I love the umbrella and the briefcase. I think that's a really nice touch. So
Thank you.
um, I'm gonna give you a 2 for this one,
Okay.
just solely for the smudging and the sky. The rest of it as a composite, I think, works great as a whole, and it would definitely make your portfolio still for me.
Got it. Sure. I can always work on it. I do have the original file and all the layers, so yeah, I
Excellent.
can try to remove that smudge and try to put some other clouds in.
Well,
Great.
keep in mind
Okay.
too, like
Okay.
critique and coming, coming to your masters for critique
Hmm.
can be an excellent learning thing. But if you specifically looked at it and said, "I'm leaving this on purpose specifically because I don't want it to look perfectly symmetrical," don't change it just because I
Okay.
told you to, unless you're getting that feedback from everyone and it makes sense to you. Like, don't be afraid to dig your heels in and go, this is my voice as an artist and this is what I wanted it to say and that
Hmm.
helps me say
Hmm.
it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 Sure.
Okay.
I know. Okay.
All right, next one.
Okay. Next one. Okay. We already saw this one. So another businessman.
I'm
Well,
starting to get a
I'm.
little bit of a theme here.
Yeah. I do have other composites with businessmen. That was, let's say, it started out as some sort of a project for me, but I still have a lot more images to take to have let's say, a piece, a couple of images, let's say, or 10 images to have. So this is this was at the break point when I was getting fired from my last job. Uh, I was at that job for 8 years. It was basically my first job, and a long lastivity, and it was a reconstruction. It doesn't matter. So basically, I had to find a new job and everything, and this basically represents, let's say, I was in a firm, yeah,
Hmm.
HP. You probably know it,
Hmm.
Hewlett Packard. Uh, let's say it's number one in the world in the IT industry, number one or number two. They exchange, and then you go to a lower pace, to a lower, let's say, um, not company, but let's say a lower segment, and this basically represents jumping from a higher firm into the mist below to find your new place in the IT industry or any other industry. That's why all the skyscrapers are here. They all represent, let's say, another IT industry, another
Uh-huh.
IT brand.
Interesting. I love this shot too. You do a very good job of sort of, part of the appeal of the vignette is that it draws you to the center of the image and what you want to
Yeah, yeah.
focus on. And you do a very good job of vignetting, but building it into the overall composition of the image so that it's subtly done, which I think is really tasteful. It's a little sharp here. I think that you could have softened the edging of some of it so that
Okay.
it bled into
Hmm.
itself a little bit more. Like it looks fantastic on the right hand upper side, how you have the clouds like coming in off the page and those little silver linings. But
Okay.
I think along the top left, it's a little bit too stark of a.
Uh-huh.
It's almost
Okay.
like
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
banding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I love the sharpness and the texture of the buildings and how that contrasts against the texture of the clouds. And it almost, I think people will sit and look at, and some people will see clouds below, and some people will see ocean, which I think is really neat as
Yeah,
a
I didn't thought of it
compositional feature.
as an ocean. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now that you say it, yeah.
but I see that. It looks like
Yeah, yeah.
stormy ocean waters crashing against the building. So I like this image because people that aren't sitting and listening to you talk to it, it definitely invokes the want for people to create a story for themselves about what this image means. Um, I love the buildings and they're very well done and well scaled from the perspective thing, but the fact that you use the same
Yeah,
building and
it's the
cloned it
same.
over, I think is a little bit distracting and a little bit lazy.
Mm.
I don't
Okay.
like seeing that in compositions, you know, and more perspective art just
Hmm.
because it's lazy.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Okay,
know, so
I get it.
I think it would be it actually it works here though. It really does. Like it's one of the best ones I've seen, and I think that's because you paid a lot of attention to where the buildings were placed and what their perspective size would be. And you did that all correctly, and you did a really good job with fitting them in and dodging and burning so that they fit. But it's still a little repetitive for my
Okay.
taste. So I'd like to see it with some other buildings, I think. But I love this concept as a whole. I think this is just a beautiful image. This would be another one I would take into the creation wars
Thank you.
very, very happily. So um, there's a few things I think you could have tweaked, but overall,
Okay.
I still think it's a killer image. I'm going to give you a 3 for this one, too. I think it's really
Oh,
exemplary
thank you
work.
very much. Thank you.
All right, next one.
Okay, next. And this is was this the last one? No, this is the fourth one. Uh, so this is basically an auto portrait.
Hmm.
I don't do them very much. This was, I think, the other one I have done. Uh, it was taken in my flat, of course. So this basically represents, let's say, uh, I was bored, not so bored,
Okay.
continue doing something, but when you are stuck at home and you're bored and you have nothing to do, but you can't go outside because you are sick or ill or anything, and then you are just cramped inside your four walls, and this should represent trying to get out of those walls, out of your bed, to go outside.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I love that you're brave. I think you're very courageous with your art and the way that you interpret it and the posing, and it's unusual. And work like this usually gets ripped apart because it's not following any of the rules that everybody's so carefully laid out as important.
Yeah.
Um, so so it gains points because of that, because I always love to see artists really stretching the parameters of what they create. And I think that you're doing that here. That said, this one isn't necessarily working for me, but it really,
Hmm.
really
Hmm.
wants to.
Okay.
It's a little bit hot on the shoulder and the highlights. I would have
On the
liked to have
right side.
seen,
Okay.
yeah, I would have liked to have seen some more of the skin texture and a little bit more of the muscle definition on that side. And um, I think because we flipped it and it's upside down, but you have the hands spread and out, it's just making it look a little awkward because your mind and your eye wants to turn it around
Yeah.
and see it correctly. So there's something about the perspective and the posing that just isn't working, and he's not grounded to anything because he's just in this sort of gray space. There's nothing that's helping to
Hmm.
anchor him to any side. So I'm not sure that it works with the layout. I'd actually be curious to see it, you know,
Flipped.
rotated and see if it's actually a stronger image that way. But I just even still, I don't think that with the other images that you're bringing, that this one ranks up there as super strong. But I'm all
Oh, okay.
about doing the self-portraits and um, you know, exploring and touching base into what these images mean to you. I just don't think it visually translated the way that you wanted to in this one. So um,
Okay.
this one's going to get a 1 for me. I think it has potential. I see what you were trying to do with it. I just
Hmm.
think you missed the mark a little bit, and I think redoing it would be a stronger image, paying attention to those things.
Okay, sure. I will try another auto portrait for sure.
Cool. Okay. Last one.
Okay, last one. Uh, this is also a composite. Uh, this was done is basically three photos I took on my trip when I was in Africa, Uganda. Um, Mainly the photos were of the mountains where we were, and these clouds were exactly like this. And I was so amazed when I was there. I was like, "What's wrong with these clouds? They were looking so perfect."
Mm.
So I took a bunch of shots. I also have a bunch of shots with just the clouds and the mountains, and then we were basically staying at a camp which was, let's say, fairly high, and you could see everything down there, or all the mountains, people down there, and this was just a representation of how I felt that day. So you are at the top of the mountain, just looking down through the clouds, seeing everything, enjoying the clear sky, and enjoying the fresh air. So, and it was early in the morning. The clouds disappeared around, I don't know, 7 a.m. So yeah, that was
Um,
the behind the photo. Yeah.
I see a lot of similarities in this one and in the one with the businessman on top of the building. And it actually is a little bit reminiscent of Gretchen Chappell's work too.
Oh, okay.
She has one called The Impossible Magnitude of Impermanence. I think I got that right.
I
And
should check that
it's
out.
it's these two little children on this huge expansive beach with this big rock, and it's making me think of that. It's just a different backdrop, and it moves me the same way that one does.
Hmm.
I love the images that tell the story of how small and insignificant we are against, you know, the backdrop of the world.
Yeah.
And this one definitely does that. And the texture of the clouds is amazing. I love all the different layers of mountains unfolding behind you. I love the different textures and types of clouds that are sort of surrounding the mountain and you, and then you have the bigger ones kind of rolling behind, again, giving that kind of ocean surf kind of feel to it. There's a lot of definition and depth, and you feel that emotional sense of being on top of the world, but still being very small. And I think that's really powerful. And I got to tell you, I'm really impressed for you to have this much of your personal style figured out this early in the game at level 4. Like, we saw a lot of huge jumps for a lot of the apprentices from 4 to 9 when they do their second critique, but you have a lot of elements. Like, blue is a running color for you.
Yeah,
You,
that's true. I
yeah,
like the blue. Yeah.
yeah, you like your very cool tones, and you do very well at displaying them. They're almost like they're monochromatic, like a sepia tone, but running with blue instead of like the warmer tones, which I think it's working for you. Um, and a lot of that editing style, I think, will help for people to be able to pick your images out of a lineup of other artists, which is what you want, because then they know that what they want is your photo, not anybody else's photo. Um,
Yeah.
so you get bonus points for that, and I'm also seeing a lot of theme coming in. You like your symmetry a lot. You like your leading lines a lot. You like the silhouetted kind of shots a lot. Like, there's a lot of themes in your work that are repeating, but you're still
Hmm.
creating very unique and original art with each individual piece without it becoming redundant or repetitive, which is also something that's really difficult to master. So I think you're doing really, really good for only being at level 4, and
Thank
I'm
you.
really excited to see you continue to hone in on that. So You have passed with flying colors to level 5. You can go up and click on the screen
Thank you
share
very
button.
much. Okay, one moment. Let me. Okay, so I think it's stopped now. Yeah, it stopped sharing.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about where you're at and what you're doing and why you joined the Arcanum and where you're looking to go from here.
Well, for now, I joined the Arcanum because basically it's. Uh, I mean, everybody's probably a self-taught photographer, or either you went to school or something. It's hard. It's hard to find a good teacher. I mean, someone to talk to here in Croatia. But I don't know if it's like this in the other countries. But other photographers are here mainly. I, I think are hiding their knowledge pretty well, and they are not reluctant to share it with others because probably they think, okay, so you will be my competition. No, I will not give you any pointers or help you out. So the Arcanum, when I saw it, it was basically, wow, I want to join this to see what's going on. And not to say I wasn't a part of some education or any tutorial. I was the only the only experience or the only knowledge I got from others was when I was handpicked by a photographer here in Croatia, who is pretty known in Croatia. He every year he holds a seminar, which lasts for 7 days, and he handpicks 15 photographers. So
Nice.
one year I was part of that. So that was nice. The only thing I catch there and learned there was the lighting, to use the flashes and everything. So that was nice. And that's the only part. The other stuff I learned from YouTube channels, watching other stuff, other work of other photographers, and so forth. Just watching tutorials. For now, do I want photography to? Yeah, I want photography to be a part of my life. Do I want to earn with photography? Yes, it would be great. But for now, I'm also focused on my career, which I'm questioning now. Let's say
Okay.
I'm 30 years old, and this is I have worked in the IT industry for 9 years. So I have, let's say, I do have a reputation here in my country, and everybody knows me and so forth. So that is also. But I think I've got fed up with the office and everything. Photography would be a nice alternative to try.
Okay.
So that's some point of view to see what I want to do, what I want to focus. I do love composites, so I am looking around and just seeing the opportunities to see maybe to become a photographer or to try and to get into that part of the business for book covers. Maybe some marketing photography. But mainly I was looking at book covers, so I'm starting on that path mostly, and I'm watching everything, what to do, who to contact, and everything. So that is something that I want to try to take for now because I don't want to give up the job I have, but to get photography to earn a little bit more on the side. But then in photography, do what I want to do, not what you need to do to earn as a photographer, which
That's
mainly in
a
Croatia is a wedding photography. So yeah.
That's not specific to Croatia. I mean, one of the best ways to earn a decent living in photography is to do the wedding photography because people are willing to invest in that because it's a milestone. Um, but my question is usually a little different. Usually a lot of other photographers that are teaching want to know if this is what you want to do for your career. So here's my question. With the money that you make at your job now, if I was going to send you an allowance that was, let's say, $3,000 over what you make a month now, every single month for the rest of your life, what would you do with your time?
What would I do with I will just do photography then.
Okay, so the thing that you want to do with your free time is probably the thing that you should be focusing on as your career. The problem is that we have it beat into our heads that, you know, there's that starving artist dynamic, and because it's a luxury item, it is more difficult to make money at it because it's not a necessity. You know, I get paid usually no less than $2,000 a session. That's more than my mortgage payment on my house. People are paying me a mortgage payment to come get pictures taken in their underwear. I am so the epitome of luxury excess that it's not even funny. So when people start looking at cutting things out of their budget, you know, it would stand to reason that spending money on pictures of yourself in underwear would probably be one at the top of the list to go. You know, same thing with conceptual work. And then that's compounded by the fact that with the influx of digital, that the doors are now open to anybody that wants to learn, which is, I think, is a fantastic thing. That's how I got into it. You know, I just went and bought a camera one day and was like, I'm going to be a photographer now. So I was that person that all the other people that are in the industry hated 5 years ago. But I welcome it because I think that it naturally weeds itself out. You know, you have the people that come in and go, hey, maybe I'll try this, and they'll work for a lot less or they'll work for free. You know, but it's not sustainable because it's not their passion. When it's your passion, you eat, sleep, and breathe it every day. You can't think of doing anything else, and all of your free time and your energy goes to that. So if you feel that way about taking pictures and creating these composites, but you don't feel that way about your current job, then the idea is to make your side thing your main thing so that you can get rid of that, so you can spend your time doing what you really love doing, because that's where your purpose lies. Can you agree with that? Did I lose you? Oh, I think I lost him. See, I was on such a good roll too. Um, so, well, we'll record it anyway and then see if we can get you back in. There we
Hi,
go.
sorry, some technical difficulties. The router just died on me.
That's
So,
okay. Where did it cut out?
yeah. Okay, so we're back now.
Okay, what was the last thing you heard?
The last thing I heard, uh, how much you make a session, and I was blown away. It's more than your mortgage. Yeah.
Yeah, so, um, you know, what I was saying was I'm the first thing that should be cut out of anybody's budget then, because I'm not a necessity. I'm not food, I'm not shelter, I'm not helping you provide your current lifestyle. It's a luxury item.
Yeah, it's a luxury. Yeah.
And I can tell you that the average boudoir photographer around here, and we use that term loosely to cover anybody taking pictures of girls in as little clothing as possible, is like $200 a session for anybody that's getting paid. There's plenty that are doing it time for print and doing it for free. $200 is about the average, and they're giving away disc items. So you can imagine their confusion and frustration when girls go to them and don't book because they're too high priced, and then they see them on my portfolio where they dropped 10 times that amount to come in and
Yeah.
get shot. You know, and that's really just understanding how to translate the value of what it is that you're offering. Because I'm not selling pictures of girls in their underwear, or I would be out of business, which is what a lot of people focus on, what they think they're selling, which is their photos and the prints and the
Hmm.
albums and the book covers, but it's not. It's about self-confidence, and it's about revamping the fire and relationships when they get them done for their significant others, or it's about discovering this new version of yourself when you come out of a relationship that you've been in and you've kind of lost yourself in it. Like, people come in and doing these kind of photos are almost a
It's like
form
a
of
therapy.
therapy. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
like a therapy.
That can absolutely be a necessity, because if you do not have your health, physical or mental, you have nothing. You can't operate on all functions with anything else. So um, when you start to tap into that emotion and give people that self-confidence and that sense of power and self-worth, it makes them motivated. It makes them feel good about themselves. Like, I used to joke that my career was Facebook profile photo improvement, because that was my standard of success for myself. If I was her profile photo the next day, I did good, you know?
Yeah, I know
And
what
I
you mean.
do. I get upset about it if they don't do it, because I feel like I failed. Because what picture do you usually make your profile photo on your social media? The one where you think you look the best. So
The
it
best
better
one
be
you
the one.
have, yes, of
Yeah.
course.
So it better be the one they just dropped $2,000 to get done. Otherwise, I failed. So
Yeah, that's
that's where we start tapping in. Now, with your work, it depends on what you want to do with it and who it is. But if you're, if I wanted to design epic artwork and I wanted to appeal solely to authors and having covers of books, my entire brand would be built around, you shouldn't judge a book by a cover, but we
hmm
do. And that's why you
Unfortunately,
want
yes.
mine, and that I would absolutely take that and build the whole thing, because we do judge a book by a cover, which is why you want the best cover. um
Yeah.
have a cover worthy of the book. You shouldn't judge a book by the cover, but if you're gonna, the cover's worthy of the book inside, kind of thing. I would build my entire brand around that, and that would, because there's the value, is that how many times have you gone into a bookstore, picked up a book, looked at the front, and put it back without reading the back or looking
Yeah, and
anywhere
said
through
this
the
is
pages,
crap. Yeah.
right? So I absolutely think that there's the possibility for you to market just on that front and do a really good living at it. The other thing is that with conceptual art, the nice thing is that everybody gets really hunkered down with where they are, and they go, oh, you don't understand my area, because where I live, it's like this. Where I live, nobody's getting paid. Where I live, none of the people work. But like you said, you joined the Arcanum for that because it opened up a world of possibility of teachers, in every genre
Yeah,
you can imagine, from
from
all
every
over
part
the
of the
world.
world. Yeah,
You
yeah,
and I are hanging out, and you're in Croatia,
yeah.
and I'm in the USA, and it's super awesome. So the nice thing about that too is that, guess what? You can also market to all of the clients in the USA and in Croatia and in Italy and in Spain and in Greece and in Australia, like the whole
Yeah,
world at your
of course,
fingertips.
that was the plan. Not only market in Croatia, you have to expand to get a lot more attention and a lot more users, of course. Yeah.
So what do you want to be known for? What do you want people to think when they think of you as an artist?
Hmm. That's a hard thing to. I never thought about it. So basically, the question is, what do you want to leave behind, or what's your
Mm.
mark? I would say it's hard. I need to think about it. So, why do you want my work?
No pressure. It's not like we're live right
Yeah,
now and everybody's waiing on bated breath for
yeah, of
your
course.
answer.
Yeah, no pressure, no pressure. I wasn't
No,
even
you're
thinking about it. Thank you about it.
good.
Well, what I want to leave behind, because I mainly do composites, I do want to I want to have a style, unified style, which I do try to keep up, which I do try to do, which is a clean, a little on the bluish side uh, style, and to be just as clean and focused on on the subject, which is who is in the picture, on whatever it is in the picture. So uh, I want to be known for that style. Let's say for cleanliness in the image. Try to do it that way.
Okay. Let me tell you what I see.
Okay.
I see a very, very talented conceptual art photographer that does these amazing composites. But the fact that you tend to dwell in silhouettes and that you tend to dwell on massive scales where the person is this sort of um, gnomon in the middle of all of this expansiveness he's anonymous in every single shot. There's not one picture that you can tell if it was model, if it was you, if it,
Yeah,
you know, you
there is. Yeah,
vaguely get the sense that it's male. Like that's as far as we get as far of it. And the reason that I think that that is going to be extremely powerful for you is that when you blow these up and you have someone standing in front of it, they're not seeing you, they're not seeing a model, they're seeing themselves, and that is going to let them tell the story to themselves as it affects them. So you can look at that image and go, oh, this was about me being at the top and then stepping down to a smaller company. But 98% of the people that see your work won't have you there telling them the story of how the work was created and
yeah,
what
of course.
you
Yeah,
do. So every single photograph becomes a self-portrait for you, but it also becomes a mirror for the people that sit and look at it. And when you do it anonymously, it's almost like they tell you to stage your home and take down anything personal about yourself when you're trying to sell a house so that the people coming in can imagine their home and their stuff. It's the same kind of thing. You're letting them move into your art. You're letting them move in and try it out and sit and go, well, that was exactly how I felt when I lost my job and the ocean was churning beneath me and I felt like everything was going to fall apart. And somebody else is going to look at it and go, that's exactly how I felt when I got that raise and that promotion and I was on top of the building looking down and the entire world was beneath me. So they're going to tell these stories and they're going to attach for different reasons, and you're going to move people that you've never even met for no reason. That image could be the difference in how they view the rest of their day and the rest of their week or the rest of their month. People attach to artwork. That's why it's so necessary. That's why I get so frustrated when I watch, schools and stuff cut out the
hmm,
art, because the reason that art moves, the reason people will pay mortgage payments for a picture is because it moves them, it affects them, it talks to a deeper part in their psyche, and you're already reaching into that not only with other people but with other artists that are accomplished. And for you to be able to move people that are on the same level and above you in skill sets and experience, that means you're really fucking good. Like, that's a really, really, that's the highest compliment that anybody can pay me. When somebody who
hmm.
I admire and consider a mentor just clicks the freaking like button on Facebook, I'm like, all day, I'm like, so-and-so liked my photo. Trey Ratcliffe thinks that I got
Yeah, yeah.
talent. Like,
That's it.
you
I'm
know,
out of here.
that's it. I'm done. Drop mic. Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing because it validates you. That's why a lot of artists want to get paid, because somebody exchanging that hard-earned money that they worked for, in order to have something that you created. It's not always about the money. We need the money to survive. We need it to support our lifestyle. But on a
Yeah,
deeper level than that, it's because they look at it and they say, what you're doing has value, you know? And I'm
yeah,
telling you right now that it does. You're absolutely already, I think, at the skill level that if this is something that you wanted to transition into and make this your career, I would push you hard towards that, because you're extremely talented and you know
thank you.
your voice already. And that's the hardest part to figure out. That's the part that most people struggle with. I have no doubt that I could set your images in with everybody else and pick yours out of the bunch, and that's what we're always trying to do in the first 10 to 20 levels of the Arcanum, is figure out who you are as an artist. So once you have that, the rest is just, it's just details. It's just learning the marketing schemes. It's just figuring out where you want to go from here.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, yeah.
So that begs the question, where do you want to go from here?
Well, I definitely want to transition to photography
Okay.
as a main. It will just it will it would be a lot, let's say, an accomplished dream, and it will be much easier to do that because I mean I do, let's say, not now, but I did love my job that I do now, but I'm getting tired of it, and photography would be a really, really nice alternative to this world, which is basically the opposite of what I do. So yeah,
So
I
here's
will try to
here's
push it. Yeah.
here's my goal for you, and you can tell me if I'm on point or not, because my goal means nothing if it's not in line with what you want. Um, Making money is awesome and it's necessary because we're grown-ups and we have life that we have to pay for and everything costs money.
And
My
equipment.
And equipment, yeah, and all the
Yeah.
toys we want, absolutely. More importantly, though, is that the mindset that I feel that we're taught on really a global front now is that you get to the point that you're considered an adult and then you are judged and weighed by your
But
ability
what
to
you do?
contribute to
Yeah.
society. Your success comes from your financial, your financial success and your placement in society and the employment that you have and that you're contributing back to your community and to your family and taking care. I'm going to wage war against that a little bit and go, I want you to be able to support the lifestyle that you want, but it is more important to me that you're spending your time well than spending your money that you're making from it. Because what we do then is we get stuck in this rut where we go, okay, I have to make money. So we focus on chasing the profit in order to support our lives, and we bank on the idea that at some point in the future we're going to be able to retire and do what we want with our time when we're much older and we're tired and we don't
Then
have.
it's too late.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
not necessarily that it's too late, but by that point we're 50, 60, 75, and we have wasted three-quarters of our lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yes.
my belief and what I have heard in conversations with other people that are older than me is that you get to that point and you go, God, I should have just did it then. I spend your time because you can always make more money. You can't get that time back.
Yeah,
So
you get the time back. Yeah.
my goal is to have you spend your day exactly how you want to spend your day, doing what you want. And I believe that when people get in touch with what it is that they're really passionate about and they center around that and they build around that, that there's nothing that you can't make money at with enough creativity. You just have to find your way all the way around it, and figure out who the potential client is and where the potential market is. And that's where I really excel. So as much as most of the other masters in the Arcanum really focus on the artistry because they're incredible artists, um, you know, that's what I'm really good at, is looking at where people are and figuring out where the money is going to follow them from, because profit will always follow passion. Always, always, always. So if I can get you to chase your passion, the money will follow you, and we can build that out. That part's easy. It's just getting in touch with what you want to do every single day for the rest of your life, that you don't make the face that you did 5 minutes ago where you're like, well, I have this job, but I'm kind of tired out by it now, you know? And that's how most people feel. I don't want you to feel that way. I want you to be like, yes, I get up and play all day. Isn't that how you feel when you start compositing and creating these images?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what
I
I want.
definitely wait for the weekend for the first day off to
Then,
just get up in
then
the morning, get a cup of coffee, and start up Photoshop and start drawing. Yeah.
absolutely. If you feel that way every time you pick up a camera or every time you get on the computer and start editing, that is what you should be spending your time doing. I can teach you how to do the rest.
Okay,
So,
I accept.
good. Okay, so your goal, you passed swimmingly through level 4. We're going to upgrade you to level 5. You're through your first half of Sphere 0. And your goal is to get through the second half of the first sphere and to be thinking about what it is you want to do, what you want your work to be known for. You said, you mentioned, book covers. I would
Yep.
look at other things like, do you want your work hanging in galleries? Who do you want buying it? What do you want to be known for? And I would also be looking at your current situation, as far as finances and what you make now, and figuring out what you would need to make in order to do this full time, because in Sphere 1, we'll actually custom build you your own sphere that centers around you, and
Okay.
your goals, and get you from where you are now to where you're looking to be. But it's a lot easier to get you there if you have a very clear idea of where it is that you want to be, because it's hard to plot a course if you don't know where you're going.
Oh, of course, yes, of course. I
So that's
understand.
your
Okay,
that's your
great.
goal. You
Okay,
did really well. I'm
got
so
it.
glad we finally
I
got to sit down.
Yeah, sure. I wrote everything down. So, yeah,
Good.
great. Yeah, it was fine finally. Yeah, because the last few months they were hectic. Yeah, I was changing the job. I also then figured out that it would be great if I have a college degree, so I enrolled at college, and yeah, that so yeah, that also occupies my day late in the evening, all the college work I had to do. So it's a bit hectic now, but I always have time. I always find time for photography, so that's
Good.
no problem.
Well, we set aside an hour for the first critique, so you have 8 minutes left. Is there anything that you wanted to touch on that we didn't get to?
Uh, no, no, I think we got on everything. I submitted everything. I submitted also the social links I had to submit with the images. So that's it. I think
Good,
we're
awesome.
done.
Well, you
Okay,
did
great.
fantastic for your first critique.
Thank you
I
very
hope I
much.
wasn't too rough with you.
No, 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 not at all.
Good.
Not at all.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you very much for your time,
You're very
and
welcome. I will see you at level
and
9.
hope to see you soon.
Bye.
Bye bye.